Healing Clinic.
요원님, 저 들어가기 좀 무서워요.
In the small courtyard, the vermilion bird holds onto your sleeve, refusing to take even a single step forward. Don't be afraid, Vermilion Bird. While Dr. Richter may have a bit of a temper, he is still a very skilled physician.
하지만
She glances timidly toward the clinic. Through the blurry slits in the window, you spot several monsters inside. From their aura alone, you can tell they're all powerful monsters.
윤 선생님은 대요괴만 치료한다는 소문이 있던데 다른 병원으로 가는 게 어떨까요?
But only Dr. Richter can treat your illness.
여기가 지옥불 같은 곳도 아닌데 왜 벌써 가시려는 거죠?
Before you can say more, a voice interrupts, half mocking, half sarcastic. You turn toward the voice. Vane has already stepped out, leaning against the doorframe as he casts a cold glance your way. That's not true, Dr. Richter. She's just a bit timid. Vane narrows his eyes and the vermilion bird shrinks back nervously.
이렇게 심각한 전식은 제가 아니면 치료할 수 없죠. 안으로 들어가서 기다리세요.
Go on. You give the vermilion bird an encouraging pat on the shoulder. She hurries past Vane into the clinic and disappears from your sight. Only then do you notice that Vane's complexion looks much paler than last time. Mr. Richter, are you feeling unwell? You don't look so good.
만리영국 분들이 이렇게 친절했던가요? 제 걱정까지 해주시다니 의외네요.
Vane always shows indifference toward the bureau. You didn't have clearance to access his records before, so there was no way to know what happened in the past. But after several visits, you realize that although Vane doesn't care for the bureau, he still treats every patient you bring in with care. Vane doesn't seem interested in your explanation. He raises a hand, visibly impatient, signaling you to leave.
환자가 왔으니 배웅하진 않을게요.
I'll be going now, Dr. Richard. Please take care of yourself. You're just about to leave when you notice Vane's other hand clenched tightly, as if he's trying to endure something. Are you alright?
괜찮아요.
His pain expression is impossible to ignore. You step forward and use the power of the bluebird to examine his aura, only to discover... Wait, why do you have engulfing breath inside you? While the engulfing breath doesn't affect humans as severely as it does monsters, direct contact can still cause injury, let alone when it circulates inside the human body. Vin hears your question but only gives you a puzzled look.
모르시나요?
You shake your head and purify him before he can answer. His breathing rarely stabilizes. Maybe because you just help him, his expression softens a little.
오랫동안 군기가 기생해 있었으니 이런 건 당연한 거 아닌가요?
Parasitize?
이건 말령국 안에서도 비밀은 아니에요. 그때 군기가 폭주하면서 망림에 격리됐고 남은 의식의 일부가 제 안에 기생하게 된 겁니다. 수년간 군기와 서로 맞서 싸우다 보니 이렇게 약해진 거예요.
You open your mouth but you're too stunned to speak. Being parasitized by the Jiangqi, one of the four great evil beasts, is beyond rare. If what Vin says is true, you should be able to find the relevant case files at the bureau. He has no reason to lie to you, but something still feels off. Well, Vin's situation is special. There's no point dwelling on it now. Is there any way to solve this? His gaze shifts, his golden eyes reflect your face as he nods.
문제를 풀려면 원인을 찾아야 하죠. 만약 군기가 변해 생긴 삼켜진 숨결을 찾을 수 있다면 해결 방법이 나올지도 모르겠지만
You understand what he means. This must be the reason the director had told you that Vin wanted to go into the wilderness. With Vin's medical expertise, it would be much more convenient if we encountered injured monsters outside. With that thought, you explain everything that has happened to Vin. I wonder if you would be willing to team up with me. As if expecting your question, Vin glances at the interior of the clinic and gives a slight nod.
좋아요. 그런데 환자들을 치료하려면 조금 시간이 필요할 것 같은데 괜찮나요?
I don't mind. We can head out after you're done. Vin, look over there. Is that elderly lady chasing after a child? She is. It appears that she has been provoked by her grandson once again. Eh? You know them? I have heard from the neighbors that the elderly lady would pray to the gods for blessings on behalf of her entire family. However, 2 weeks ago, his grandson replaced the statue of the god of fortune with a photo of his own pet dog monster. So that old lady spent half a month praying to a dog monster? Indeed. Due to the elderly lady's declining vision, she could not see clearly and only noticed something was amiss recently. No wonder she's so angry. The effectiveness of praying to the god of fortune is one thing, but praying to a dog monster for a half a month in a row. Indeed, I imagine the little dog monster must be quite perplexed by this situation as well. Look, it is accompanying the elderly lady in chasing after that child. Let's go check it out, but we have to be careful not to cause any accidents. Very well. Imperial City Street. We should be getting close to the rest area, right? Facing the fork in the road ahead, you're still a bit uncertain about which way to go. Thankfully, a few sparrow monsters are circling overhead in search of food. You quickly wave to them in greeting. Excuse me, do you know which path ahead leads through this area? The sparrow monsters chip noisily, and worried that you didn't hear clearly, they swoop a little lower. A moment later, the sparrows fly together to form an arrow in midair, pointing to a narrow path. Looks like it's this way. After thanking them, you head in the direction they pointed and continue your exploration. Imperial City Street. Walking behind Vin and watching his back, you find yourself momentarily lost in thought. Even though he calmly admits to being possessed by the Cheongchi's consciousness, something still doesn't feel quite right. The shattered curseborn has been collected. His sudden statement breaks your train of thought, and you respond almost reflexively. Alright, let's continue with the investigation. He nods in agreement, then closes his eyes and rubs the bridge of his nose, looking slightly drained. Vin, are you not feeling well? It is nothing to be concerned about. I am merely experiencing a slight dizziness. Though he downplays it, the cold sweat beading on his forehead clearly shows that it's more than just a little dizziness. You notice a dark, unidentified substance clinging between his brows, slowly spreading toward his shoulder. Wait, isn't that... Vin turns his head aside, his expression tight with visible disgust. Engulfing breath. The engulfing breath is like toxic mist. If you don't clear it quickly, the longer it lingers, the worse it gets. He tries to dispel the breath wrapping around his shoulder, but nothing seems to work. You tentatively reach out, activating the power of the bluebird. To your surprise, the engulfing breath shows signs of retreating. Seems like it worked. Let me give it a try.
네, 바로 거기에요. 최선을 다해 협조하도록 할게요. 통증이 조금 가라앉은 것 같네요. 아, 지금은 좀 나아졌어요. 정말로요. 아, 고마워요. 덕분에 한결 나아졌어요.
You lift your hand from his shoulder. The engulfing breath is gone without a trace. Vin massages his neck and shoulders, looking up at you with slight surprise. I never expected that even as a doctor, I cannot heal myself. Thank you. I am feeling much better now. You're okay. I did not expect to encounter engulfing breath so easily. It seems we must remain vigilant in our subsequent investigations. Imperial City. Time passes quickly and soon it's time for your meeting with Vin, but standing on the streets of Imperial City, you don't feel as energized as you expected. I really shouldn't have stayed up late last night. You can't hold back a yawn. Vin casts you a sidelong glance and hands you something. A sachet? Though it's called a sachet, the light blue brocade pouch has no extra decoration and looks more like a medicine bag. As you pull it, a crisp and refreshing scent drifts up. You inhale deeply and feel much more alert.
한방 향료에 시원한 박하 성분을 좀 섞은 거예요. 효과가 있었으면 좋겠네요. 오늘따라 유난히 피곤해 보이네요.
Thinking of how confidently you invited Vin to form a team earlier, you now feel a little embarrassed. Sorry, Dr. Risher. I stayed up late last night reviewing some files about the Cheongchi.
군기요?
Ah. You freeze, realizing you've accidentally let something slip. Vin is already at odds with Omni-Spirits' burrow, and your words have now caused his expression to turn grave. Afraid that he might misunderstand, you quickly wave your hands to clarify. Not that I distrust you, nor do I intend to investigate you. It's just you look like you were really unwell at the healing clinic that day, and I was a bit worried about you.
걱정이요?
Vin repeats the word softly, though his tone still holds doubt. You nod and continue explaining. Yeah, the Cheongchi has worn you down so much. We're partners now. Of course, I can't just do nothing. Vin pauses and narrows his eyes. Once he's sure you're not lying, he looks away.
그래서 뭘 알아냈나요?
You recall what the files say about the Cheongchi. There isn't much, but it's enough to give you a general picture. The Cheongchi is one of the four great evil beasts, inherently disloyal and untrustworthy, most skilled at parasitizing other living beings to draw power from them. Actually, it's not uncommon for monsters to parasitize humans, but usually the host isn't willing and will gradually be consumed by the entity. Once the host is spent, the demon moves on to the next, and the Cheongchi is no exception. You pause, stealing a glance at Vin. Throughout history, you're the only one who has ever been able to surprise the Cheongchi. After returning to the burrow that day, you ask around about Vin. During the ancient engulfing breath outbreak, among the four great evil beasts, the Cheongchi was the one that lost control most severely and was never contained until the very end. It's exactly because the Cheongchi has parasitized Vin that the burrow is so cautious so cautious around him. After all, the Kyongchi is uncontrollable. Vin notices your inquisitive gaze and simply smiles unfazed.
사실이에요. 말년국에서 저를 경계하는 건 언젠가 제가 군기의 힘에 완전히 잠식돼서 큰 피해를 일으킬까봐 그런 거죠. 제가 아무것도 하지 않아도 군기가 기생하고 있는 한 위험은 계속 존재하니까요. 그래서 당신들이 감시 목적으로 다친 요괴들을 제게 보내는 거고요.
To be sure, everything Vin says is true. You have no way to refute it. The Burrows files don't record how long Vin has been parasitized by the Cheongchi, but if everything began with the Cheongchi's loss of control as he claims, it must have happened in ancient times. If Vin has been feared since then, it is understandable why he doesn't trust us. You know the long-standing tension between him and the Burrow can't be resolved with a few words, so you shift the subject. Oh, and there's something particularly strange.
네?
Even if someone's parasitized by the Cheongchi, the engulfing breath isn't supposed to appear in the host's body. But when I purified you that day, I discovered that you had already been corrupted by the engulfing breath before. I've gone through many files, but haven't found any similar cases. Do you know why, Dr. Richter? Vin falls silent. This must be the root cause of his worsening condition. After a while, he shakes his head.
제가 체질이 특이한 걸지도 모르죠.
Perhaps you are just imagining things, but you catch a fleetingly bitter smile on Vin's face. You want to ask more, but he has returned to his cold, distant self and shows no desire to keep explaining.
윤 선생님이라고 부르지 않아도 돼요.
Huh? You freeze for a moment, not reacting. He moves his lips, hesitates briefly, and then finally speaks again.
어차피 당신은 제 환자도 아니니까 그냥 윤노아라고 불러줘요. 그리고
Before you can answer, Vin's gaze dropped to your hands.
그건 마음에 들면 가져요.
Ah. Only now do you realize you've been holding the small pale blue sachet this whole time. Beneath the crisp sand, the brocade feels warm from your grip, just as warm as your palm. Alright, Vin.
조사하러 가죠.
As you turn the corner, you step on something. Looking down, you find a shattered cursed bone beneath your feet.
요괴의 뼈?
Looks like these monsters went berserk only recently. Actually, the Omni-Spirits Bureau has been finding quite a few shattered cursed bones in the wild lately. I just didn't expect we'd encounter one so soon. But the engulfing breath isn't that strong in the Imperial City. Normal monsters shouldn't be affected this badly. What exactly is going on? You crouch down to examine the bone more closely, but Vin suddenly grabs your wrist. Vin, what's wrong?
조심해요.
The warning reaches your ears all the same time he lets go of you. Vin doesn't look at you, acting as if nothing happened. He bends on and picks up the cursed bone.
괜찮다면 이 요괴의 뼈를 가져가서 연구해보고 싶어요.
What are you researching?
저는 의사인 만큼 삼켜진 숨결로 고통받는 요괴들을 꼭 치료하고 싶어요. 그러려면 당연히 더 깊이 연구해야겠죠.
I see. You get the sense Vin is implying more than he says, but since the Burrow doesn't make a point of collecting shattered cursed bones in the wild, you're alright with him taking them. All right. Vin, did you hear something?
저기 누가 있네요.
You exchange a glance with Vin and quickly head toward the source of the sound. Corner. Vermilion bird. The vermilion bird is curled up in a corner, trembling. She seems to be under the influence of the engulfing breath. You hurry over to purify her. After several deep breaths, she finally calms down a little.
요원님이었군요.
The vermilion bird holds her forehead for a while before letting out a shallow breath and giving you a grateful smile. But her ease doesn't last. She suddenly flinches when she sees Vin behind you.
죽이지 마세요.
You turn back in surprise to look at Vin, who is coldly staring at her. You shift your body slightly to block his line of sight. Vermilion bird, what happened?
그게...
She hesitates for a long time. Vin's gaze feels inescapable, sharp as a blade.
야외에 보물이 많다는 소문을 듣고 몰래 나와서 찾아다녔어요. 넉넉하지 않은 형편에 병도 낫지 않아서 돈을 좀 더 모으고 싶었는데.
She grabs your hand and tries her best to appear sincere. You can feel her slight trembling. It's clear you won't get much out of her for now, so you gently pat the back of her hand. I'll help you apply for aid from the Omni-Spirits Bureau. In your current state, you're far too susceptible to the engulfing breath. Let's get you back to Hexu City, okay? The vermilion bird sneaks a glance at Vin.
괜찮아요. 이제 많이 나아졌으니까 혼자 돌아갈게요.
Vin seems to notice her fear. She takes 2 steps back as if preparing to leave.
붉은 참새를 데려다줘요. 말령국은 저를 반기지 않으니까요.
He pauses briefly, then turns back, seeming to have remembered something.
진료소에 와서 약을 받아가는 건 잊지 마요.
Healing Clinic Courtyard. After making sure that the vermilion bird is safely escorted back to the burrow, you return to the healing clinic. Vin has just seen off his last patient when he sees you. As if expecting your arrival, he already holding a medicine pouch in his hand.
하루 3번 복용하면 붉은 참새의 천식 증상이 완화될 거예요.
Okay, I'll take it to her. You take the pouch and store it carefully. When you look up at Vin again, his expression is as calm as ever. Clearly, he does not intend to speak fast. Vin, what exactly happened that day after I brought the vermilion bird over? She seems really scared of you.
저도 잘 모르겠어요. 그날은 진료실에 잠시 남아서 경과를 보라고 했는데 돌아왔을 땐 이미 나가버렸어요. 약도 안 챙기고요.
You have a strong feeling Vin is hiding something, but it is unlikely you'll get anything more out of him. You decide to ask the vermilion bird about it later and drop the subject for now. Alright, Vin, there are still some matters to handle at the employment agency. Let's study up and head over there.
알겠어요.
Why haven't we reached our destination after walking for so long? Huh? The Omni-Spirits Bureau gave us the wrong location coordinates again. So how far have we deviated from our originally planned direction? It shifted about 3 kilometers to the northwest. That was quite a detour. It appears that our colleagues at the Omni-Spirits Bureau responsible for data positioning have been somewhat careless. Actually, I ran into something like that once during a field consultation. A patient had their location info marked the wrong way. Wrongly marked? So you ended up going way off in the opposite direction? Yes, I went over 10 kilometers the wrong way. When I called to check, the patient said he was not actually sick and had done it on purpose. How could they do that? That's way too much. What did you do after that? Later, I still went to his house to provide treatment, and now he would never dare to do such a thing again. Huh? I have a feeling that consultation will be unforgettable for that patient. Jade Quarry. The path to the quarry is mostly wide and easy to walk, and it's not hard to tell which way to go. You don't expect so many monsters to have gathered here, and quite a few seem to be trying to migrate to Hexo City for work. You want to be a bricklayer in Hexo City? A monster in overalls and holding a paintbrush looks at you with wide blinking eyes, clearly waiting for your opinion. But a bricklayer, what do you think, Vin? I am afraid I do not possess extensive knowledge about the qualities required of a bricklayer, so I cannot offer any professional opinions. However, we can perhaps provide a basic assessment based on the requirements we are aware of. Right, let's do a quick assessment for him then. The monster smiles brightly when he hears you're willing to help. You step closer and begin observing him carefully. After passing your initial assessment, the grass Hundun seems thrilled and immediately wants to take his paint bucket and head for Hexo City. Since the safety of the path ahead hasn't been confirmed, you and Vin quickly stop him. Hold on, the path ahead might be dangerous. Why don't you wait until the engulfing breath dissipates a bit more before heading out? Indeed, you can use this time to make further preparations. After all, once you arrive in Hexo City, you may need to undergo additional evaluations and assessments. The grass Hundun looks at you with gratitude and nods. Bidding each other farewell, you go your separate ways. Jake Quarry. Vin struggles to breathe, trying hard to suppress the cough rising in his throat. The engulfing breath makes it harder and harder for him to breathe, and his vision gradually blurs. Engulfing breath again. As if relieving the pain from before in his consciousness, a familiar invisible force suddenly begins to surround him. He tilts his head back slightly and lets out a murmur so hoarse it's barely audible. Is this your power?
숨이 좀... 많이 나아졌어요. 치료해줘서 고마워요.
You don't know where this distant resonance comes from, but it does cause the corroded wounds to begin healing slowly. As his mind clears, Vin gets up from the cold ground. Phew. With a deep breath, he pushes away the tangle of thoughts and forces himself to return to the task at hand. Now, more important matters await. Street. After confirming the vermilion bird's address again, you knock on the door in front of you. You hear soft footsteps inside. Soon you hear her voice calling out.
누구세요?
Vermilion bird, it's me, Sharara. After a while, the door opens a crack. The vermilion bird peeks out, still looking flustered.
무슨 일이세요?
Bird, I'd like to learn more about what happened earlier. Would it be alright if we went inside to discuss the details? She glances behind you. After confirming you're alone, she unhooks the door chain and steps aside to let you in.
들어오세요.
Bird's residence. The room is small with very old furnishings. The wallpaper is slightly peeling and unrepaired. Everything about the place shows the owner's financial struggles. The Bird points to the bed, motioning for you to sit down. She rubs her hands together, embarrassed.
집이 좀 어수선하지만 이해해주세요.
Not at all. I'm the one who dropped by unannounced. She hands you a glass of water and sits beside you.
요원님, 윤 선생님이랑 친한가요?
I've interacted with him several times due to work, although Vin always seems reluctant whenever he has to take on patients. There's a reason for all of that, and he treats every patient with patience. The Bird looks puzzled. Her lips twitch slightly and she hesitates before speaking.
윤 선생님을 너무 좋게만 보는 거 아니에요? 우리가 같은 사람을 알고 있는 게 맞나 싶을 정도예요.
Really? If you had a chance to get to know him, you'd understand. Never mind, let's talk about what happened that day instead. You gently touch the Bird's arm. That little bit of teasing seems to help her relax, and her expression is less tense now.
사실 제가 가물성에 간 건 제 의지가 아니었어요. 무언가에 이끌린 것 같았거든요.
What? The Bird nods, looking troubled.
도우 진료소에 갔을 때부터였어요. 그날 윤 선생님이 진찰을 마치고 나서 진료실에서 경과를 지켜보라고 했죠. 그런데 왜 그런지는 모르겠지만 갑자기 숨쉬기가 너무 힘들어졌어요. 천식이 도진 줄 알고 다시 윤 선생님을 찾아가려고 했어요. 그런데 진료실엔 안 계시더라고요. 그래서 한 바퀴 둘러보다가 안쪽 방에 계신 걸 발견했어요.
Healing Clinic. It's already nighttime. Several dim lamps glow in the inner room, casting a dull light on the surface of the wooden medicine cabinet. Through the carved patterns on the door, Bird catches a glimpse of Finn's silhouette. She raises her hand to knock, but stops when she sees what he's holding. A shattered curved spoon floats above his palm. Vin arranges it into a ring and gazes at it with interest, as if playing with something ordinary. The engulfing breath flickers like a small flame in the center of the ring. It burns brighter and brighter until it eventually surrounds Vin entirely. The Bird covers her mouth with both hands, trying to suppress a scream.
누구죠?
His gaze falls on the door. The Bird doesn't dare to answer and turns to flee. Are you saying that Vin stole power from other monsters?
제가 틀림없이 봤어요. 아니면 손에 들고 있던 요괴의 뼈는 도대체 어디서 난 거겠어요? 남의 힘을 억지로 차지하려 하면 결국 대가를 치르게 돼요. 윤 선생님 주변에 있는 삼켜진 숨결이 그 증거죠. 윤 선생님 몸에 군기가 붙어있다고 하더라고요. 군기는 속이는 걸 잘하는 요괴니까 요원님도 조심하셔야 해요.
You recall all the time you spent with Vin. Even though he kept his guard up, he's always looked after you in Imperial City. No matter what anyone says, you just can't believe he'd committed something so terrible. You shake your head, push aside your thoughts, and bring the conversation back on track. What happened? What happened after that? And how did you end up in the Imperial City? Bird seems afraid to remember. She glances around her cramped room, her brow tightening in distress.
도우 진료소에서 도망친 후 삼켜진 숨결의 영향을 받은 건지 멍하니 정신이 흐릿해졌어요. 정신을 차려보니 이미 감월성에 있었어요. 야외에서 무언가 절 끌어당긴 것 같아요.
In the Imperial City, but we didn't find anything apart from you that day.
아니요, 더 깊은 곳이었어요. 어쩌면 빛이 채석장일지도 모르겠는데 저도 확실하진 않아요.
The Jade Quarry. After speaking, the vermilion bird shudders. You gently pat her on the back to comfort her. You've already gotten the key information you need. Seeing that she is still not in a good state, you don't press her any further. Instead, you take out the pouch of medicine Vin gave you. Vermilion bird, here's the medicine Vin prescribed for you. It should help relieve your symptoms. I've already checked with the power of the bluebird. The medicine isn't tainted with engulfing breath. So don't be afraid. She hesitates several times but finally accepts the packet. After giving her a few more reminders, you leave after bidding her goodbye. Healing Clinic Courtyard. You keep replaying the vermilion bird's words in your head. If Vin really had stolen spiritual power, he wouldn't be this weak. Something else must going on. Before you even realize it, you're already standing at the gates of the healing clinic. Thinking about it won't help. I might as well ask Vin directly. The courtyard is just as peaceful as before, but the clinic doors are tightly shut. It's rare for it to be closed. That's strange. Where's Vin? Just as you hesitate, a wave of mystical energy ripples in from afar. It's a presence you recognize. It's Vin. Nice. You stop hesitating and follow the trace of that energy. Jade Quarry. You pass through crumbling streets and abandoned buildings, finally reaching the edge of the Imperial City and entering the Jade Quarry. Vin stands at the center of the quarry. Just as the vermilion bird described, shattered fragments of cursed bones are gathered in his palm, but this time they form not a ring, but a lamplight. A strange formation unfolds from the lamplight, drawing in the surrounding engulfing breath, which flows ceaselessly toward Vin. Vin, stop right now! More and more engulfing breath gathers. A violent gust of wind rises, sweeping up dust and sand, throwing up a wall between you and Vin. Vin turns around. When he sees you, a flicker of surprise crosses his face. You raise your arm to shield yourself from the dust and push forward with effort. Don't you know how harmful engulfing breath is to people? If this continue, you'll die.
신경 쓰지 마요.
The lamplight flickers weakly. Vin takes a deep breath, pain itch across his face. Still, he does his best to stabilize the fading light. Vin? He collapses. The lamplight slips from his hand and rolls a short distance away on the ground. You pick up the lamplight just as you're about to extinguish it and severe the flow of the engulfing breath flowing into Vin. He suddenly grabs your arm and pulls you toward him.
끄면 안 돼요. 지금 멈추면 제가 공격당할 거예요.
Could it be any worse than how you are right now?
제 안에 삼켜진 숨결은 아직 제어할 수 있지만 제 등이 꺼지면
Before he finishes speaking, light bursts forth. The engulfing breath stops flowing into Vin's body. It only gathers around the lamplight. Then the light goes out. A fierce wind carries the lamplight away, and for a moment you can't give chase. Vin can't suppress his gasping breath as the engulfing breath rushes through his body. Are you alright? You instinctively study him while quickly purifying the engulfing breath. Vin finally loosens his grip on your arm and slumps quickly against your shoulder. Your eyes adjust to the darkness, yet you still can't see Vin's expression.
미안해요.
His voice falls softly beside your ear. You rest there for a while. The formation gradually fades, leaving no trace behind. Vin leans on you as he stands up.
그 제등은 야외에 두면 안 돼서 빨리 찾아야 해요.
No, I've only temporarily stabilized your condition. You can't stay here anymore. Come back with me.
돌아가서 말령국의 처분을 기다리겠다는 건가요?
You know perfectly well that's not what I meant. Vin presses his lips together. You stare at him stubbornly, making it clear that you won't give up unless he agrees to return. After a long pause, he lets out a resigned sigh, as if giving in.
알겠어요. 근데 돌아가기 전에 제등이 사라진 방향은 알아보고 싶어요.
You met Vin's kiss. Realizing you can't change his mind, you nod. I'll go with you. Vin seems to share a special connection with the lamplight. He leads you to the far edge of the jet quarry. The beast cave is just up ahead. The lamplight should be deeper inside. After thinking for a moment, Vin raises his hand and draws a formation at the boundary between the quarry and the cave.
이렇게 하면 적어도 제등이 다시 이곳으로 돌아오는 걸 막을 수 있어요. 그런 건 도시 근처에는 두지 않는 게 좋죠. 자, 이제 돌아가요.
Have you completed all the tasks that were previously accumulated? Yeah, now it's time for the new one that we just got. Very well, allow me to take a look. A rescue mission at the collapsed gem vault in the mine. The gem vault collapsed? When did this happen? I believe I heard something about that this morning. It appears that several thieves attempted to dig a tunnel to steal jewels, which triggered the alarm. I had initially thought it would be a task requiring agents to apprehend the thief, but instead, I didn't expect the vault to collapse and end up burying several of the thieves inside. Right now, rescue operations definitely take priority over making arrests. However, judging from the situation, their injuries do not appear to be severe. Otherwise, they would not have sent just the two of us. You're right. Let's head over there quickly. After the rescue operation is complete, we'll arrest them all and take them back. Beast Cave. When you reach the depths of the mine, you and Vin are already prepared for a rough, difficult path. Surprisingly, the ground you walk on is quite even. The only challenge lies in the darkness where engulfing breath can easily take hold. As you struggle to move forward, a few demon rats scurrying across the cave floor catch your eye. Hello, excuse me. Eh? They squeak in terror, clearly startled by your presence. It takes a long while to calm them down. Actually, I just wanted to ask which route has left engulfing breath. Once they confirm that you're simply asking for directions, the rats visibly relax and point you down a path. It seems they still harbor quite a bit of hostility towards humans, but regardless, I should still thank them. After expressing your thanks, you and Vin follow the route they indicated. Beast Cave. The mine is dimly lit and you can only barely make out the restrained expression on Vin's face. The engulfing breath gathers in his chest and his fingers turn blue from the unconscious force he applies. Engulfing breath again. You urgently press your palm against the corroded area. Let me help heal you. The power of the bluebird begins to flow, and only then does the tension between his brows ease slightly.
역시 의사는 스스로를 치료할 수 없는 법이군요. 이번에도 제 심장이 아직도 빨리 뛰고 있다고요? 근데 삼켜진 숨결이랑은 상관없는 것 같아요.
Fortunately, this instant of engulfing breath is minor and dissipates quickly. Under your worried gaze, Vin's breathing gradually steadies. Do not worry, everything is fine now. He always seems able to see through your emotions. But your injury has just healed. Let's rest here for a while first. He nods, not refusing. Okay. Healing Clinic. The moment you return to the clinic, Vin collapses as though he can no longer hold on. You rush to catch him and help him sit on the nearby sofa.
약장 6열 13번 칸에 제가 필요한 약이 있는데 부탁드려요.
You hurry to the medicine cabinet, open the door, and find a porcelain bottle inside. It seems to contain some kind of liquid. You hand the porcelain bottle to Vin. He drinks it all in one go, then leans back in the chair with his eyes closed. After a long moment, his breathing finally steadies.
고마워요. 덕분에 좋아졌어요.
Vin. A meow interrupts your words. Startled, you look toward the source of the sound and spot a small white kitten emerging from the corner. Looking out the window, you notice not only that kitten but also several others perched on the tree branches or crouched in the garden bushes. A few small dogs are resting along the wall. Vin, I didn't expect you to have so many small animals here. And the white kitten jumps onto Vin's lap. They're all so fond of you.
제 발로 찾아온 말썽꾸러기들일 뿐이에요. 근처를 떠돌던 동물도 있고 또 어떤 동물들은
Vin freezes for a second. His expression grows slightly uneasy as he looks down at the kitten in his arms, absent-mindedly running his fingers through its fur.
피곤하네요.
Huh, why did he stop halfway through? Seeing how tired he looks, you don't press him further. After checking his condition with the power of the bluebird, you give him a small nod. You really should take a break too. Go get some rest.
당신은 여기 있을 건가요?
What? Are you kicking me out just as you're starting to feel better?
손님은 별로 가고 싶어 하지 않는 것 같네요.
Alright, I'll stop teasing you now. Although you're feeling better, you're not completely stable yet. I'll leave after I make sure you're okay.
편한 대로 해요.
After murmuring that, Vin places the kitten in your arms and turns to walk into the room. You doze off on the sofa for a while. When you wake up, the sky outside has already dimmed. The kitten has somehow climbed onto the top of the cabinet and is napping there. You rub your eyes and catch a glimpse of something familiar out of the corner of your eye. Are these cursed bones? In the corner of the medicine cabinet, you spot a round glass bottle filled with shattered cursed bones. There's no trace of engulfing breath on them, almost as if Vin had deliberately collected them.
봤어요?
You hear Vin's voice behind you. Turning around, you see him standing at the doorway, parting the curtain and looking at you. The bedroom light is off. Though shadows shroud him, you can clearly see his knuckles turning white from gripping the curtain too tightly. Vin, are you collecting fragments of cursed bones?
수집이요?
He repeats your words in surprise, pauses for a moment, and then continues.
이 요괴들이 폭주한 배우가 저라고는 의심하지 않는 건가요?
For what? To be consumed by the engulfing breath? The engulfing breath within you isn't from losing control after stealing demonic powers, but rather something you gathered yourself. Even if you can harness the power of the Qiongqi now, you still can't avoid the intense pain brought by the engulfing breath. Vin, what are you trying to do? A curved crack answers you as a web of fine cracks spread across the surface of the glass vial. The shattered cursed bone floats toward Vin, forming various shapes in his hands.
정말로 저를 믿어요?
With a single squeeze of Vin's hand, the cursed bones crumble to dust, slipping through his fingers. He finally lets the curtain fall and walks up to you. He stands so close that you can reach out and touch him. Instinctively, you take his hand and carefully brush the powder from his palm. I trust my feelings. What about you? Would you trust me and explain it to me? Vin doesn't pull his hand back. He just stares at you for a moment and then suddenly smiles.
가요. 제가 다 보여줄게요.
Beast Keith. Once you confirm he is not seriously hurt, you head with him to the Beast Cave. The lamp lies extinguished not far from the entrance. Some traces remain on it, but with how thick the engulfing breath is in the cave, they are difficult to notice without close inspection. Vin picks up the lamp, intending to light it. You reach out to stop him, but he doesn't stop, simply patting your arm to reassure you.
괜찮을 거예요.
As the lamp lights up again, the surrounding engulfing breath begins to gather. It seems that because Vin doesn't trigger the core component, the engulfing breath doesn't flood into his body like before.
요괴의 뼈는 요력에 가장 좋은 매개체죠. 삼켜진 숨결은 이미 폭주한 요력이긴 하지만 여전히 세상의 법칙을 따르고 있어요. 이런 방법으로 삼켜진 숨결을 조종하고 그것들을 흡수하죠.
Absorb? You pause in surprise. Vin glances at your expression and continues before you can ask.
하필이면 아직 미완성의 불안정한 상태라 이렇게 초라한 모습을 보여주게 됐네요.
So, you suggested coming to the wilderness to collect cursed bones and not to search for the Qiongqi's demonic energy, like you initially claimed?
미안해요. 거짓말했어요.
You shake your head, choosing not to dwell on the lie. Why are you doing all this? Vin frowns slightly as if considering how to explain everything to you.
당시에 군기가 폭주하면서 결국 야외로 쫓겨났고 마지막엔 망림 안에 삼켜진 숨결 일부가 되었죠.
I remember this incident, but the Beast Cave is still quite a distance from the delusional forest.
사실 군기는 완전히 사라진 게 아니에요. 제 몸에 기생한 부분 외에도. 망림 안에 군기의 의식 일부가 남아있어요. 수백 년 동안 잠들어 있는 것뿐이죠. 그런데 요즘 들어 군기가 깨어난 것 같아요. 오랫동안 삼켜진 숨결에 잠식돼서 지금은 망림과 거의 하나가 된 상태예요.
What? Who would do such a thing?
몰라요.
Vin calmly shakes his head.
이런 상황이 처음은 아니지만 저는 이 정도로 심각하진 않았어요. 수많은 사람들이 군기의 힘을 탐내면서 자신이 그 힘을 완전히 다뤄 군기의 새로운 주인이 될 수 있다고 믿었어요. 그런데 이 모든 전제는 제가 군기한테 완전히 삼켜져야 한다는 거예요.
Images flash through your mind. The shattered curse bones found again and again, the vermilion bird drawn to the wilderness, and wind absorbing the engulfing breath at the heart of the formation. So, after the Qiongqi was awakened, he lured the monsters into the wilderness, but his ultimate objective was actually you, wasn't it?
맞아요. 끌려온 요괴들이 폭주해 삼켜진 숨결이 되어버려서 군기의 힘이 더 강해졌어요. 군기는 예전부터 제가 그 힘을 억누르는 걸 못마땅해 했어요. 망림에 삼켜진 숨결이 강해질수록 저도 점점 영향을 받아 결국엔 완전히 잠식당할 수도 있는 거죠.
Wind looks toward the delusional forest and smiles mockingly at it.
다만 전 군기와 오랜 시간 서로를 견제해왔기 때문에 억누르는 방법은 제가 제일 잘 알고 있어요. 자는 거나 깨어있는 거나 저한텐 그게 그거예요. 제가 그 부분을 흡수할 수만 있다면 군기는 더 이상 악행을 저지를 수 없을 거예요. 그날 제 안에 삼켜진 숨결을 제대로 억누르지 못했는데 마침 붉은 참새가 그걸 보게 된 거예요. 그 정도의 기운이 그녀한테 그렇게 큰 영향을 미칠 줄은 몰랐어요.
You recall the pain on Vin's face that day. If just the engulfing breath spilling beyond the forest is this overwhelming, how many unseen burdens does he undoubtedly carry? Yet in the current situation, even if Vin gives everything he has, he still can't completely prevent the tragedy. Is this really the only way? What will happen to you if this continues? Silence falls over the two of you. After a long pause, you hear him sigh.
군기랑 너무 오래 싸우다 보니 서로 다 닳아버린 것 같아요.
That won't do. There must be another way. Yes, there's another way. As soon as you speak the words, you know what you must do. I'm going to the delusional forest, Vin. I can purify the engulfing breath. If I can purify the Qiongqi, you won't have to consume it anymore, and you won't have to worry about being devoured or worn down.
아니요. 지금 무슨 말을 하는 건지 잘 모르는 것 같은데 군기는
Of course, I understand what I'm saying. You cut him off quickly, not giving him the chance to stop you. Investigating the shattered curse bone was my responsibility to begin with. Now that I know the source, I won't just stand by and do nothing. Besides, you can't bear to watch him walk toward an ending where he simply fades away. You pause, leaving the rest unspoken. Vin sees the resolve in your eyes. After a moment's thought, he nods.
그럼 우리 같이 가요.
I have heard that many monsters have been repeatedly filing complaints about management issues around the delusional forest lately. Yeah, it seems the engulfing breath has been spreading from deep within the delusional forest and is starting to affect the surrounding woods. While traversing the forest and avoiding the engulfing breath, many monsters tend to lose their way. Lost? Yes, especially the monsters who work in Hatsu City and have to take the path near the delusional forest on their way home after work. They ended up spending so much time on the path that by the time they got home, it was already early the next morning. Indeed, the matter is quite serious. Whether human or monsters, adequate sleep is of utmost importance for working professionals. I was thinking the same thing, so I'm planning to go inspect the scene in a bit. When we get back, I'll help create a management plan for the delusional forest or set up some warning signs in areas severely affected by engulfing breath. Very well, I shall accompany you on this endeavor. The delusional forest. There are many monsters in the forest of various races, So it is not at all surprising when you encounter a cat monster. Still, running into a cat monster with a large fish tail does take you by surprise. Oh my god, how did he make it onto land and walk this far? I am not certain either. The cat monster flicks its fish tail and stares at you contentedly with a blade of grass in its mouth, and then suddenly lets out a few meows. Are you saying you wish to become an animal caretaker in Hatsu City? An animal caretaker? But your gaze drifts to the cat monster's tail. No matter how you look at it, he seems more suited to living in water. Vin seems to share your thoughts. You exchange a glance and begin a simple assessment of the cat spirit. Upon hearing your assessment, the mere meow spits out the blade of grass it holds in its mouth, clearly displays. With a flick of its tail, the mer meow suddenly springs up and darts into a nearby puddle. There's a puddle over there. Could it have been living there all this time? I see. I have been wondering how it managed to arrive here with its fish body. This appears to be the true answer. Seems like this cat monster really can't work in Hatsu City. Delusional Forest. On the way to the delusional forest, Vin's steps suddenly become unsteady. Vin, are you okay? Before he can finish speaking, he doubles over, clutching his chest. Vin! You support him, his skin cold and rigid beneath your palm. The heavy and coughing breath surges within him, and all pretense of composure fades, leaving only a pale, defenseless frailty. Such a severe wound. After exhausting himself dealing with the Yongqi, wounds like this only make his condition worse. With trembling fingers, you reach toward the injuries, gritting your teeth as you call on the power of the bluebird. Faster, just a little faster. You don't want him to suffer this much pain again.
괜찮아요. 신경 쓰지 마요. 전 그저 당신한테 짐이 되고 싶지 않아요. 조금만 더 저와 함께 있어 줄래요?
Vin, are you awake? He lifts his eyelids gently and meets your eyes as if trying to confirm something. I am grateful for your presence. Had you not been here, the engulfing breath has been driven away. Though the healed wounds still show fresh signs of recovery, they no longer look as horrifying as before. I'll always be here for you whenever you need me. He smiles faintly, and you can't tell whether it's from gratitude or relief. The breeze outside carries a damp metallic tang, gently stirring the hair at his brow. After a brief pause, he speaks again, his feelings now hidden behind his eyes, leaving you momentarily uncertain. In any case, what matters most now is pacifying the disturbed engulfing breath. Alright, no matter what happens, I'll help you. You walk with him toward the depths of the delusional forest. Perhaps he's used to struggling with himself, but once this matter is resolved, The days ahead should bring a different kind of sunlight. Delusional Forest. The delusional forest is unnaturally quiet. Engulfing breath fills every corner, and you can feel something stirring within its depths. You disperse the surrounding breath, but Vin has looked worse since the moment you entered the forest. We can't waste any more time. Using your bluebird power to investigate, you find that although Vin is affected by the engulfing breath, his condition isn't too bad, which puts your mind a little more at ease. Vin, how do we find the Cheongchi?
찾을 필요 없어요. 이미 왔으니까요.
A flame flares up in the forest. The dim green light fails to illuminate the surroundings, instead plunging the forest into a more unsettling atmosphere. The engulfing breath has solidified due to its intensity, a sight few have ever witnessed. The engulfing breath has grown so heavy that it has started to take physical form, something few have ever seen. Vin, be careful. You finish purifying the engulfing breath as you speak, but when you turn to one Vin, you find that countless flames have already ignited behind him. The green light reflects eerie colors in his golden eyes. Flames rise all around him, but Vin stands still, unfazed. You reach out to pull him back, but before you can even touch the fire, something stops you in your tracks. Vin. The lamplight flickers on again. Vin moves his fingers, and the engulfing breath calls around you like a chain, though it never met contacts. He seems intent only to restraining you. He gives you a long look as a formation spreads beneath his feet. The lamplight is now fully activated. What are you doing?
아까 시도해봤잖아요. 당신 혼자서는 군기를 정화할 수 없어요.
The engulfing breath gathers, surging toward Vin just like it did before. You don't need him to explain. You finally understand. Vin never intended for you to purify the Cheongchi. He has always intended to bear everything alone.
그동안 고마웠어요.
Now's not the time for this, Vin. Stop. If you continue like this, you'll be consumed.
당신이 정화하게 되면 이 끝도 없는 삼켜진 숨결 때문에 몸이 버티질 못할 거예요. 애초에 이런 일에 휘말릴 필요 없었어요.
Vin smiles reassuringly, but his expression freezes in the next moment. The Cheongchi seems determined to break free from Vin's control, as a flame transforms into an arrow and pierces through Vin's chest. Vin, stop right now! You promised me in the Beast Cave. At least let us face this together. The engulfing breath won't cause physical injuries to Vin, but his soul will suffer as if being tempered in raging flames hundreds and thousands of times. Why must he endure all of this? Why must everything placed upon him continue without rest, even after he is already endured for so long? Vin still holds on, looking at you with resolute eyes.
잊지 마세요. 군기의 본성은 속임수예요. 오랫동안 기생당했으니 나쁜 버릇이 생기는 것도 정상이죠.
You're not the Cheongchi. Almost driven by instinct, you hear yourself loudly refuting Vin. The power of the bluebird surges forth. Before you know it, you break free from Vin's restraints, pushing through the thick breath until you reach his side.
당신
Before Vin can finish speaking, his legs gives out and he falls forward, pulling you down with him as you both collapse to the ground. I won't let you disappear like this. Even though you've never talked about your past, I know. Vin, you're not as cold-hearted as you appear. Call it my curiosity, but I want to know everything about you. So, you hold him close, feeling the chaos of the engulfing breath in his body and beginning to purify it. Perhaps all of this ultimately remains like creases on paper that can never be fully smoothed out, but no matter how long it takes, you keep going.
왜 이렇게까지 하는 거죠?
He leans against your shoulder. Though he regains some strength, he no longer tries to stop you.
책임감 때문인가요?
No. You shake your head, brushing against his hair without meaning to. Because I hope that I can be the one to soothe your heart. Vin pauses. His sigh is soft and sorrowful, fading quickly into the wind.
아주 긴 이야기예요.
What?
제 과거를 알고 싶다면 시간이 꽤 많이 필요할 거예요.
Is that so? Then you can tell me all about it when we get back to the clinic. The last trace of engulfing breath in Vin's body fades, and what's left of the Cheongchi's consciousness begins to vanish. A dry leaf drifts down onto Vin's shoulder. You reach to brush it off, only to realize it's a leaf butterfly. It slips from your palm and flutters into the distance. Vin keeps his eyes on its fluttering wings until they disappear from sight.
위장에 능한 나비네요.
Yeah, but even so, it occasionally leaves its branch to perch on someone's shoulder.
돌아가죠.
Healing Clinic. After being severely drained by the Cheongchi, Vin falls into a deep sleep when you return to the healing clinic. He stays asleep for many days, waking only for short periods. Whenever you're free, you sit with him, prepare his medicine, and eat meals together. Vin adjusts well to having someone else in his once solitary life. On days you arrive late, he sometimes waits for you at the courtyard gate. Today, while Vin is still asleep, you hear someone knocks on the clinic door just as you've lit the stove to boil medicine. You glance toward the door. It's the vermilion bird.
요원님, 윤 선생님 계시나요?
Sorry, vermilion bird, Vin hasn't been feeling well lately, so the clinic is temporarily closed. Have you run out of the prescribed medication I passed you back then? I can ask Vin to draw a prescription for you when he awakes.
사실 윤 선생님께 감사 인사하러 왔어요. 죄송하다는 말도 함께요. 막림에서 있었던 일 다들 들었어요. 그동안 제가 윤 선생님을 오해했던 것 같아요. 아, 그리고 제 병도 많이 좋아졌어요. 또
I don't think Vin will blame you. You gently interrupt her, taking hold of her tightly clenched fist. However, I can't speak for him. Why don't we wait until he's feeling better, and then I'll go with you to tell him in person, okay?
그럼 윤 선생님 상태가 나아지면 다시 올게요.
After sending the vermilion bird off, you brew the medicine. Thinking it's about time, you decide to wake Finn. However, he's not in the room. Where's Finn? You look out the window. Vin is lying on a rocking chair in the small courtyard, the warm afternoon sun illuminating everything in the yard. Vin narrows his eyes as he gently rocks back and forth, his shadow swaying along with him. You put down the bowl filled with medicine and walk toward the courtyard with a blanket in hand. Healing Clinic Courtyard. Vin doesn't notice your arrival. You lean over him, blocking the sunlight. He opens his eyes, unsurprised by your presence. You wave your hand in front of him. The weather's nice today, but you should still remember to keep warm so you don't catch a cold.
사실 출발하기 전엔 제가 살아서 돌아올 수 있을 거라고는 생각 못 했거든요. 그래서인지 이런 평온한 날들이 괜히 욕심나네요.
There will be many more days like this ahead. Despite saying that, your eyes remain fixed on Vince's pale face. Even though you've purified all the engulfing breath in his body and resolved the hidden threats, you can't repair what was worn away before. Noticing your concern, Vince gently pats your hand.
최고의 결말을 맞이했으니 이제 우리도 조금은 기뻐해도 되지 않을까요?
But you still look weak. What can I do to help you feel better? Vince shakes his head, a rare look of distress on his face.
저도 잘 모르겠어요. 이런 증상은 처음인데다가 의사는 자기 병을 못 고친다고 흔히들 말하잖아요. 의학 서적을 전부 뒤져야 치료법을 찾을 수 있을지도 모르고 어쩌면 한동안 회복하지 못할 수도 있겠죠. 아무래도 당신의 도움이 더 필요할 것 같아요.
I would have done it even if you hadn't said anything. You pause for a moment and see your reflection in Vince's eyes. You want to make him a promise that lasts forever. Before you even realize it, the words are already out of your mouth. I'll help you find a way through this until the day you get better. Vin freezes for a second and then smiles. He reaches out and hooks his pinky with yours as if sealing a real promise.
네, 믿을게요.